Hello, Harris Jr. up in the Seven Time Studios for my partner James J. And we are back live after a couple week break. Well, actually, more like a 1 week break for the Daytona 24-hour race. Never mind, just a typical break in the action. We're here at Phoenix Raceway, Tucson, Arizona. Probably got the city name wrong, but that I think things are trying to go boom on me. But regardless, we have 9 trucks out here today. Dustin Reinsettle leading the way for qualifying, getting another pole on the year. That is his 7th pole on the season of the Truck Series. Charles Smith starting off in 2nd place. Row 2 will have Eric Thaler and Robert Lavery. Jason Phillips and George Harris Jr. are in row 3, Norm Snyder and James Olivison in row 4, and rounding out the field in 9th place is Marco Lavery in the number 9. Base truck is off here as we get ready to go. Green flag will wave and lead us off here. Barney will call us into action at the 1.01 mile Phoenix Raceway. Now, of course, pit lane is on the old front stretch. So, pace truck goes on in. These guys are on full control. Green flag in the air. They get to the restart zone. Just coming out of turn 4, you have to pass the start-finish line before the dogleg comes into play. Dustin Reinsettle, Eric Thaler, the whole inside line goes down. The dogleg outside line stays on the outside here as Charles Smith bashes into the wall. Not too hard there. Oh, we've got some contact there coming out of turn 2. Dustin Reinsettle leading the way in that number 11 Chevrolet. Eric Thaler right behind him here as we complete lap 1 of the 113 lap event. This race will have 113 laps. The trucks have 2 sets of tires in pit lane, and they're going to get about 42 or so laps on fuel. Normally this is stuff that I try to remember being a driver in the Truck Series, but with my turn up here in the booth, it's hey, what do you guys got? Because I don't want to log in and get trouble. That is alright, folks. Dustin Reinsettle continuing to lead here. Now, another key thing at Phoenix Raceway is tire wear management. We did say there's 2 sets of tires in the pits. It's nighttime, so there's definitely some grip here out in the desert. But tire management's going to be key. You're going to see guys start to fall off early on trying to save their tires. Some guys starting to fall off later in the run because they've burnt a lot of tires. Speaking of, we got Jason Phillips now up to 2nd place. Some more wall riding here as the trucks continue to go along. Charles Smith started 2nd, is back up into 3rd after dropping earlier, being on the outside lane. So if we end up with several cautions, we're going to find that the inside lane is going to have the advantage thanks to that dog leg. Dustin was able to get up to a pretty decent lead. Everybody in the inside line got to enjoy that momentum. They go back down the dog leg here. Jason trying to get side by side with that number 11. He's side by side here through turns 1 and 2. Jason's got a little bit of the advantage. Get out to turn 2. Does he hit the wall? No, he just keeps off the wall. He's ahead, whole truck length. Dustin files right behind him. A new leader, folks. First lead change of the day, and it's going to stick out through here, through turn 4, lap 6 complete. Dustin going to try to battle here, sticking on the low side. He won't get much through the backstretch there, but he's going to gain quite a bit. Here on the inside gets a little squirrely. Rear end comes out just a little bit. He's able to keep that momentum through the front stretch. As they get through turns getting into turn 1 and 2 now. Top three pretty close to each other here. Everybody, for the most part, single file all the way back. Charles Smith's trying to compete here for second place early on. 8 laps complete here. Cars starting to move up the racetrack, and some of the things we've heard from some of the drivers is that with the new changes to the tire and the trucks themselves and the repave, it's a little bit harder to keep that truck down in turns 3 and 4. So kind of keep an eye on that there with the tire wear scenario. Jason Phillips doing pretty good there in that orange and gray Chevrolet. Actually, that's not Chevy, that's Toyota. I just forget because he's got the DEI schemes all the time, and you figure DEI would be Chevrolet, not Toyota. Charles Smith continues hugging on to Dustin Reinsettle here. He hasn't lost too much ground. We do have a caution. Caution is out for the first time tonight. And we'll see what happened. Looks like Robert Lavery was involved in that one. Driver the number 33. Jack's Link Beef Jerky Chevrolet. See some battling towards the back of the field, and this happened through 3 and 4, so we'll see what exactly took place. It looked like he just ran up into the wall. Yeah, that truck just tightened right up, went straight into the restart zone. Rode the wall a little bit. And the truck just was not moving, so we need the tow trucks on out there. Get him out, so caution was called. He's on in the pit lane. Not sure how long they've made him tow for, but that's probably going to be a fast repair burnt up there. Nobody coming on down pit lane as we're working on lap 13. Jason Phillips continues to hold the lead. Lights are still out on the pace truck here, as we'll get the 1 to go next time by, I believe. I knew I was wrong. So, Phoenix Raceway is located in Avondale, Arizona, not in Tucson. Astute, knowledgeable viewers out there will happen to know that information. One thing we might not know is that 7-time driver Jimmy Johnson has the honor of having the racetrack, the road the racetrack is off of, renamed after him, as the official GPS location of Phoenix Raceway is at Jimmy Johnson Drive in Avondale, Arizona. It was opened in 1964 as our trucks start filing together side by side. Jason's going to opt for the inside line, what we said is going to be the preferred line for the race, for the restarts. Pace trucks off. Again, we got to go through the back stretch into part of turn 3 before they get to the restart zone. So the field basically looks as it normally would. It is technically at 1 mile, 1.01 in some cases, but it's just about a mile. Green flag underway. Jason Phillips off to a rocket start. Past the start finish line. Everyone else keeping right up against each other here. Charles Smith holding that inside line pretty good. Dustin Reinsettle unable to get the momentum there on the back straightaway. Charles Smith moves up to second place. He's making a big push there as that truck goes out wide. Dustin now on the inside here in the dogleg. He might be able to make it back up. These two were pretty much neck and neck for most of that run early on. Charles taking a high line through that corner. He's going to have some big momentum coming out of turn 2. Now he's going to be on the bottom here. See how low he can stick this truck. He's trying to make up ground on Jason, but does he burn the tires? Again, these guys getting about 42 to 46 laps on fuel, so that's going to put a lot of strain on those tires. Again, the guys that are going to save on those tires, fall back a little early on, are going to be the ones to look out for later in the run. Those that are burning them up right now, leading and doing crazy shenanigans, they're going to be the ones that are going to fall back later on in the run. We did talk with race administration here about the size of the track, remembering that Motorsports has the 1 mile rule for our caution clock, basically. If the track is a mile or less in length, we have a limit of 10 cautions for the entire race. Based on the official iRacing size of the track, which according to some is 1.01 miles, it does not qualify for the caution clock. I'm going to call it the caution clock, whatever. So, we should not, with the size field we have, see 10 cautions, but if we were to have that many cautions, we would not have to end the race. The rule is any track under a mile and under, we hit the caution limit of 10, race is done. But at any rate, these guys are pretty clean through here. We have not actually had to use the caution clock since it was implemented in the league, which is great news. Absolutely wonderful. And that just speaks volumes of our league's attempts to be a clean series. And we want to have fun. We don't want to be doing iPacing. iPacing, you can do that in the official series. Because that's basically what ends up happening. Well, through all that talk there, Charlie. Some fun difficulties here, some technical difficulties on my end. Hopefully not impacting what you guys are witnessing here, but that move unable to make a dent in Jason Phillips' lead, so Charles will fall back in line. Tried to make a big move. He's gonna try it again here through turns 3 and 4 on the low side. Jason will continue to hold the lead. They're now side by side through the dogleg. Not close enough, though. All right, well, the voice quality is going to change just a little bit here. I apologize for that. My computer went boom. But hopefully you can hear me pretty decently here. We're just going to go ahead and try and use the phone real quick. Dustin Reinsettle has the lead currently over Jason Phillips. Quite a commanding lead at this point. The number 29 truck, as we're focused on it right now, currently sits in 4th place. Eric Thaler, who typically holds back at the beginning of the run, is now starting to make some moves here as he's gone ahead. Past Marco Lavery. Moves on up to 5th place. And it looks like we've got the 29 machine moving further back here. It's a little loose coming out of turn 2. Eric Thaler now on the inside of George Harris. He's going to make the pass for 3rd place. And Marco's going to follow right behind him there in the dogleg. And now George Harris trying to battle on the inside at this point. Marco was able to get around him. Oh man, almost 3 wide. Charles nowhere really to go. Forced under the apron there. George Harris continues to hold on. Dustin Reinsettle about a 2-second lead at this point over Jason Phillips. And here we go. Charles Smith is now battling hard with George Harris. This is the battle for 5th place right now. Trucks are going on down the back stretch through the cameras. Now back over through the front stretch. Past turns 3 and 4. 33 laps have been completed by the Midwest Motorsports truck team. Again, I do apologize here for the technical issue. The studio computer decided it was going to take a nap early on in the broadcast. That is my personal computer, not the computer you get to watch all this on. So, side by side down the back stretch, Jason Phillips and Eric Thaler, the battle for second. Now Thaler going to go ahead and take over second place. Jason's holding on. As it go through the dogleg, they're still kind of side by side going into turns 1 and 2. Camera's currently focused on Marco Lavery, but the battle for second just ahead of him is pretty hot. White hot, as these guys are still side by side, going on to their 3rd lap. Being side by side here, Eric continues to hold on to second place. Dustin Reinsettle getting away, though. Oh boy, getting away loose there. Big issue for Eric as he's going to lose out on second place for this lap, but he's getting right back into it.
Have to back off a little bit here as they go through turns 1 and 2. Get onto the back straightaway. This is one of those interesting racetracks as we get closer and closer to the pit window being open. Back when it opened up, obviously had a different look to the racetrack, and the version of this track that I'm originally familiar with is the old style the Gen 4 cars used to drive on. Now, what that part these guys are on used to be the front straightaway, and turn 3 and 4 used to be the turns 1 and 2. The dog leg was not something that you could drive into. The apron used to all be grass until that was all ripped up and repaved over. And Jason Phillips will come on into pit here on lap 40. It's a long pit lane, as that starts on the now backstretch. Again, when that was the front stretch of the racetrack, it was a little bit easier because you get off now past turns 1 and 2, but you were already passing the start finish line. Eric Thaler going sideways through turns 1 and 2. Dustin Reinstall still holding a commanding lead. And the guys behind him are just looking for any kind of mistake to be made by that 11 machine. They're also looking for great pit stops by themselves. And that's one of the biggest things that you're going to need here in order to beat Dustin Reinstall at this point, is just great pit stops and for him to make a mistake. That's certainly possible. We saw that at Dover earlier this season, where Dustin got involved in several accidents, which pretty much took him out of the race. Only one other active driver in this series has won a race this season. That was Eric Thaler. Stole the win from me. I mean, it was my fault for letting him even have the chance by burning up my tires. But yes, Eric Thaler is the only other driver to win a race this season in the Truck Series. I'm trying to reboot the booth here in the 7 Times Studio. So we are preparing on the eve of mayhem. That mayhem being the impending snowstorm, or winter storm. It's supposed to be coming in Sunday night into Monday, to drop around here as much as 2 feet of snow. We get to ride along here with Charles Smith and the cat number 29. As he's coming on down pit lane, Norm Snyder. He's coming on down to pit, and in the lead right now is Marco Lavery, as he'll take over the lead through pit cycle. Eric Thaler currently shown in second place. Charles Smith there, Norm Snyder in fourth place. Dustin Reinstall a lap down, currently in sixth place. Marco comes on in. Smith still in the pits. Jason Phillips moving up the roster here. He's going to be looking to take the lead. So Jason Phillips has a really great pit stop, able to get pretty far ahead of Dustin Reinstall at this point. Currently led 19 laps today. Jason Phillips will officially take the lead over. But Dustin Reinstall taking over second place. Eric Thaler in third place. Unfortunately, it might be time for the studio to have another update on Windows. I'm not sure what needs to be done here, but the second time that it has decided it doesn't want to do stuff, so. But that's okay. We can still improvise. We still have an internet connection, so we might as well continue to use the phone coverage. Oh, Dustin getting a little squirrely coming out of turn 2 there. Oh, actually, that's turn 3. And we'll see what happens here. Everybody looks like probably taking tires. Try to be a betting man. All right, now I got some eyes on some telemetry data. So yes, everybody took tires during that pit stop, pit cycle. Jason Phillips came in on lap 40, where Dustin Reinstall came in on lap 45. Dustin is closing in on him, though. He did set the fastest lap time at 27.467. Not sure why Discord didn't load up. Oh, we're doing this again. Oh, now it's starting some stuff. Dustin has closed in on him, so there's 5-lap fresher tires on that number 11 machine. Need to rattle around on the nose here. Now, barring all the funny-duddy business here, this is the Midwest Motorsports Truck Series. It happens on Friday nights, almost every Friday night. You'll find us here. Our league here at Midwest Motorsports has 3 different racing series that happen throughout the year. Dustin Reinstall taking the lead from Jason Phillips as the 5th lead change of the race. And Jason's going to hold on to him. Only one caution so far. This is currently our closest battle on the racetrack. As you see down below, that is the website link to our league page where you can find out more information on how to join, how to race in here, the Discord link to chat with all our different members and sign up for the iRacing League Series. We have 3 different leagues that comprise our racing overall, our league overall, including tonight's action here in the Truck Series. There's Sunday night, where we drive the Xfinity or O'Reilly Auto Parts cars. And that's our stock car series, followed by Tuesdays, where we race in our road series. This season's the Porsche 911, the 992. For our oval side, it will be yours truly, Michael Harris Jr., doing the broadcasting for the league for this season. As due to some personal reasons, Trevor McLaughlin stepped down and still on medical leave for James Johnson. So continue to hold him in your thoughts and prayers. He'd much appreciate it. He misses being up here. I know you guys miss him being up here as well. But he's the main broadcaster for all three series. And on Tuesdays, just like this past Tuesday, we have the wonderful sounds of Adam Sondag. It was great to hear him on the booth on Tuesday night. I got to get back behind the wheel and drive around in that Porsche. And it was a lot of fun. And just props to him. So tune on Tuesdays and join in with that. Again, our racing schedule Sundays, green flag dropping at 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time. Road Series on Tuesdays, green flag drops at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. And Friday nights at 9:55, you can catch us here in the Truck Series. We will have another race next weekend, as we have that nice little card pop up there. Now have a pretty close battle here with Charles Smith catching on up to George Harris. This is the battle for fourth place. Dustin Reinsel has taken a 2.7 second lead, as now Smith goes ahead on the outside. Will he hold on to it? Nope, unable to make that stick. George Harris gets a little loose coming out of turn 2. Losing all that momentum now. Smith on the outside in that Caterpillar 29. And he will definitely have fourth place. Yes, fourth place. Eric Taylor currently sitting in third place. As you can see on the tower here, these are the manufacturers running right now. A couple of Fords in the field. Smith and Thaler, along with Norm Snyder towards the back. A lot of Chevys and one Toyota. Sorry, Jason. Of course, if I were to have the same issue that Robert Lavery had earlier, that would be most unfortunate. He unfortunately had some technical difficulties of his own, so he has forced him to bow out. Still trying to get things locked and loaded here in the studio for my eyeballs on the computer. I could switch back to the microphone. While I'm waiting on his Discord to be nice and load up on the computer. So some exciting world news out there. Yep, we're going to get political here, as this weekend is the Rolex 24. That had nothing to do with politics, but I figured that'd be something to note, right? And on back here, got James Olivison and Norm Snyder on camera. Dustin Reinsel catching on up towards the back of the field. Has yet to lap anybody through 65 laps of action. This is actually your closest battle for position on the track, as these two are only separated by 6 to 7 tenths of a second. So yes, the Rolex 24 hour is going to be happening this... Is it happening this weekend? Do I have my weekends wrong? I thought it was happening this weekend. Now, Google likes me. It's seeming to work on my computer. Dustin Reinsel getting around. James way down there through the dogleg, pretty much in the pit exit lane. But he'll get past the number 91st truck, one lap down. Being passed. Dustin Reinzel is currently led about 41, going now on 42 laps today. Has led the most laps so far. As we're pretty much past the halfway point of the race. And Dustin has gone out to a 5.5-second lead. There are two battles on track that are within a second of each other. Eric Thaler has started to catch up to Jason Phillips, while James Olafson is still sticking around Norm Snyder. Norm Snyder getting lapped here. As the camera pans over to George Harris. Joe Knight. All right, so 24-hour begins at 1:40 Eastern Time. The WeatherTech IMSA Challenge, Rolex 23. Scott Dixon, Sir Scott Dixon, is looking for his fifth Daytona 24-hour win. It's also the longest active consecutive start streak at 23 years in the endurance event. Eric now getting around Jason Phillips here. We get on that left front wheel. They're still side by side getting past turn 2. Jason getting some momentum off the corner here. Can he hold and stick? Keep the position. No, Eric's going to take it. That inside line starting to work in Eric's favor here as he gets through the dog legs, still ahead of Jason Phillips. Jason digging into turn 1. He's holding on there through turn 2. Jason's going to be able to make a run down this backstretch here. He's going to lose some momentum there coming in through turns 3 and 4. Now he's going to cross over, be on the inside of the dog leg. Eric's still wide out there. But that dog leg did not give him as much of an advantage as he thought he'd get. 73 laps down in this race. Action happening all sorts of different parts of the field here. The Acura team will be starting from the pole in the GTP. Corvette Racing hoping for the GTD title here. If they're able to win, it'll be their 5th win as a team. Here we go. Discord, are you going to be nice and work for me here, or are you going to cause me problems? So I am able to get Discord up on my main computer. Just not sure if I'm going to be able to get back into the channel here. Oh.
Back as my backup here in case something else decides to happen. But we are back in control, I believe. Jason Phillips has come on down into the pits. Down the long pit lane. Dustin Reinzel continues to hold the lead. He has about a 7-second gap over Eric Thaler. Jason Phillips now is a lap down. He's going to go ahead and take his last set of tires. And again, these guys had 2 sets of tires in pit lane. And with 40 laps, at this point, Phillips is hoping that he can actually make this pit strategy work, but he's going to have to find a way to hold those tires accountable and be able to make them last towards the end of the run in order to have a chance against Dustin Reinstall. George Harris, Marco Avery, and Norm Snyder are all in pit lane. Want to see something fun? That is our spread right now, and how all the cars are lined up on the track right now, or the trucks, I should say. So let's do a little quick walk through the field here, as pit cycles are underway. Nobody's actually currently in pit lane as we speak at the moment. Dustin Reinstall, your race leader, has been leading the most laps of the day. Currently leading his 56th lap of the race. Another dominant performance here by the number 11 Chevrolet. Charles Smith currently sits in 2nd place in that Caterpillar Ford, number 29. Started the race in 2nd place and has found his way back up there. Hits the wall. He and Dustin Reinstall have yet to pit since they came in between laps 45 and 46. 3rd place, Eric Thaler, currently sitting in the pits, has led a lap. Go ahead and use up his last set of tires. Jason Phillips will get around him here as he's coming on out of pit lane. Jason Phillips, speaking of which, now up to 3rd place. He was 4th when we just came to him. He's getting around Charles Smith here, but that's not a battle for position yet. He's just pretty much taking a lap away from that 29. So Jason Phillips looking good right now to take over the lead once Dustin Reinstall comes on down pit lane. Dustin, of course, is 12 to 13 seconds ahead of Charles Smith. So lead's still gaining there. We're going to head back down to 5th place for George Harris Jr., the Dano's machine. Chevrolet having a nice run today. See pit back on lap 79. Charles Smith now takes over the lead, as Dustin Reinstall comes on into pit lane. While that's going on, we got Marco Lavery back here in 6th place. 2.7 seconds behind George, currently in 6th place. Was able to leave a lap earlier on in the race during the pit cycles. James Lavison in the number 90 Air Force Chevrolet. Currently sits in 7th place. Having an okay top 10 run. Then we have Norm Snyder in 8th place. 1.3 seconds behind James Lavison. And Charles Smith has come on down pit lane. Let's move ourselves back up here. Dustin Reinsettle battling with Jason Phillips here. This is currently your battle for the lead as Jason Phillips takes it over. Dustin continues to hold the fastest lap time. Of the race, Jason Phillips gets his 26th lap led, 25 laps to go. So this will be interesting to see. Jason has 9 lap older tires than Dustin Reinsettle does. Reinsettle pit on lap 86. The only one who has fresher tires than him is Charles Smith, who pit on lap 87. 24 to go. And Jason continued to hold on to this lead with so many laps left to go. It would be one thing if there was 2 to go or 3 to go, but there's 24 to go. Dustin has been doing a pretty good job at holding on to those tires. And Dustin makes the pass going into the dogleg. He's got the lead again. 8th lead change of the night. And with 23 to go, Dustin Reinsettle looking like he just toyed with Jason Phillips. I will have to say, though, Jason's been doing remarkable, coming from the road series to the oval side, driving these trucks, figuring them out. He's been able to be very competitive against the likes of Dustin Reinsettle and Eric Thaler and other top oval series drivers here at Midwest Motorsports. One thing I forgot to mention during my little half the race chatter about the league is always open for anybody to come join. Always free. So it doesn't cost anything to come join. You don't have to pay membership fees. You don't have to pay dues. If you want to donate, that's up to you. Nobody's going to force you to do that, but it is appreciated. With that said, again, league is open, free. Drivers make a lot of choices during the off season about what tracks we're going to be running. The road series has a little bit more choice as far as vehicle choice. Sometimes we'll put up a series or two for change, like the stock car series where they were doing the next gen last season. Now they've moved on to the Xfinity O'Reilly Auto Parts base. Eric Thaler closing on in here. The battle for second place heating up. You ever wonder what it looks like to be in the nosebleeds here at Phoenix Raceway? Well, here we are. This is the fan cam as we just watch Eric Thaler getting around. I don't exactly know what grandstands we're sitting in, but these are some grandstands here coming out of turns 3 and 4, or turns 1 and 2, I should say. Looks like Smith was able to make the pass on George Harris. Norm Snyder in a battle with James Olavison now. This is the battle for 7th place, your closest battle on track. The Truck Series is a fun series here in this league. Norm hitting the wall there. And I will say, as somebody who has regularly driven in this league in the Truck Series since Season 6, these are a great group of guys. We continue to try to tool, improve each of our series, and if this is something that interests you, I highly recommend you come check it out and join us here. Broadcast right here on YouTube And again, admission in this league is free. Numbers available. If you're tired of the official series and just all the mayhem cautions that get bred, we only have one caution this race. 15 laps to go. I know we got one dominant driver up front there, but that could be you. You could come on in this league and show us what for. Always happy to have a fresh face here. We've had several have come on in the league, and several of them are out on the track here, like Charles Smith, had a fast truck early on. George Harris, relatively new face. The Laverys with Marco and Robert. And some old-time faces like the Godfather of Midwest Motorsports. Nope. Okay, we're back. Maybe. Norm Schneider again catching back up to James Leveson. Looks like he bounced off the wall. Robert Lavery, of course, rounds out our field. Norm Schneider, side by side with James Leveson. This is the battle for 7th place right now. Side by side, out of turn 3 and 4. Norm down the dog leg. Charles tapping that wall here and there. James continues to hold on to 7th place. Norm getting a run here out of turn 2. Side by side, he'll stick to the inside line. This could be a tight finish here, folks. 9 laps to go. Neither driver giving up here. Right behind him is 4th place, who's currently a lap down. Actually, no, he's not a lap down. Only 3 trucks are a lap down. One of them is just out of the race due to technical issue. 8 to go here. Dustin Reinstedel getting close to making it 7 to go. And there it is, 7 to go. Charles making the move underneath Norm Schneider. Schneider forced to take a step back. He was making some decent progress there, just unable to make the move. Dustin Reinstedel continues to lead the way with 6 to go. 3.9 second lead. Norm's made it under half a second here. Charles now going underneath, very tight, but able to make it by James Leveson. 5 to go, folks. This one has seemed a lot quicker than most of our normal races. Even with the one caution there. Now, sometimes you get those, and sometimes you get races that go on and on. This season, we tried out a full race, basically, in the Stock Car Series, 400 laps around Charlotte Motor Speedway. That was certainly an event to host and participate here. 3 to go. Dustin Reinsettle continues to lead. The gap is now 4.3. Norm Snyder get back to being side by side here from the backstretch. Going into turn 3 and 4. Can he make the move here? 2 to go. Pretty close. 2 to go as these two trucks continue to battle it out. Now, I know we've got our leader just continuing to run away with it here, but we've got this exciting action going on. Norm unable to hold the momentum coming out of turn 2. He falls back again. White flag waves for Dustin Reinsettle. In his fight against cancer truck. And he's going to make the round here. Dustin Reinsettle will come home with another win on the year. That's number 7 for him. Well, I'm sorry, that's number 8 for him on the year. Eric Thaler will come home in 2nd place. Jason Phillips will finish in 3rd place. Fourth place will be Charles Smith. George Harris finishes it out in 5th place. 6th, Marco Lavery. 7th, James Olavison. Norm Snyder comes home in 8th place, and in 9th, we have Robert Lavery. All right, folks, we'll see if we continue to have some wonderful broadcast action here, if the studio continues to hold. I'll bring up our top 3 finishers of the night. Still waiting and seeing if Jason will end up in the booth or if he'll show up here. We can pull him up into the booth. Yeah. All right. All right. Well, not sure what's going on with Jason, but not able to pull him up into the booth at the moment. But we do have our top 2 finishers here. Gonna start with Eric Thaler. Eric, you got a copy?
I do, Michael. How are you?
Well, doing pretty good. Had a little bit of technical bug here, but Josh and I were able to figure it out. So I'm certainly glad to be here. Eric, how are you doing? How was looked like you were having fun out there. How was the truck doing?
Yeah, it was a good race. I have a kind of a love-hate relationship with Phoenix. Love racing there and whatnot, but just never seem to have a win there. But uh, it's been the night was pretty good. Nothing crazy went on. So pretty happy with second place finish. Um, so we'll take it.
Absolutely. I mean, you had something there for Jason Phillips. Dustin, of course, off to the races for him, even though flat tracks aren't always his most favorite here. And you certainly enjoyed going slideways. How did you're usually pretty good with your tire management regardless. How'd you feel about this with the repave and all that?
It wasn't too bad. You just had to take it easy when you were coming out on fresh tires. Just had to be patient, try not to overdrive the truck. Um, but it felt like by doing that, I had a little more grip towards the end of the run. Um, I was able to get by Jason there, and was having a lot of fun battling him. For P2 and whatnot. But it's just more or less just trying to take it easy, coming out on fresh tires and trying to save them for the end of the fuel run. So it kind of worked out, and wound up here in P2, which again I'm fairly happy with here. Um, I've had some bad results here. I've had some good results here, but to be on the podium tonight is again, I'm fairly happy with it.
Absolutely, definitely fun to see you up here on the podium, Eric, and for Midwest Motorsports, the Godfather of Midwest Motorsports yourself, and we look forward to seeing you next. Well, we'll see you on Sunday, I hope, provided the
Absolutely.
ice doesn't get you. But
Yeah, we're gonna hope not. We're gonna hope not. So appreciate it, Michael. Thanks everybody for watching. Good race, Jason. Good race, Dustin. Good win, and we'll see y'all next week.
sounds good. All right, the Godfather of Midwest Motorsports, second place for Eric Thaler. Next up, we've got our third place finisher here,
I'm just
Jason Phillips. We got a copy.
Yes, sir. You got me.
I got you loud and clear, Jason. We
Man,
had
what a
some
what a
speed
truck. What
there,
a
and you
race.
definitely had some.
Man, I don't know. I really don't know what I'm doing at this track. This track's so different than all the other ones. It's a learning lesson.
That it is for sure. You've been picking up a lot of these oval tracks pretty well, despite your Road Series background, and I know there are certain tracks where you can get quite a lot of information from just your experience on road. How do you feel that that translates to a track like Phoenix? I know you're not sure how to drive it, but is there any tracks you could use from your time in the Road Series that Phoenix reminds you of?
Actually, actually, at the start of this race, I felt like again I'm not good on the tire conservation and saving. I understand it a little more than I used to, but this track felt a little more like how you would enter, I guess, 3 and 4, and the exit of it. It just kind of it had a road feeling vibe to it. But uh, listening to Eric, I wasn't saving tires as soon as I was coming out. I was trying to turn some fast laps. Again, that's my I don't have the experience that these other guys have at this oval stuff. That they've done this a lot longer than I have, but it's a learning lesson. I try to take every lap to learn something from it.
Absolutely. Tire conservation is definitely a hard one. Tire saving, however you want to phrase it, it's a learning curve for sure. Something that the Road Series drivers and everybody else out there see. Oh, he's just making a left turn. He's just making a left turn, and there's so many different nuances to oval racing that people aren't familiar with. This being one of them. You did have
That's
some interesting pit strategy here going in on lap 40 and about lap 80 or so. And it seemed to work out okay at the beginning. You had quite an advantage on Dustin. 25 laps to go. He's right behind, or he's pretty much gaining right on you. Was there anything you thought you be able to do to hold him off for those, or are you just hoping for second at that point?
I knew I wouldn't. Once I seen the speed that he had on the long run, I knew I didn't have much for him on like a chance to win it. I was just throwing something at the kitchen sink to just try to change up my strategy with the amount of tires we got and the laps we got. Uh, this this track's it's hard. Like I'm not saying, and I have a whole different respect for as someone who grew up watching NASCAR and not know anything about road racing, and all I really get into on the sim in the beginning was road racing. I have a whole new respect for oval racing, and that's been the fun part of learning. It's been a new learning curve for me, and it's this track. This, I felt like I was fast. I mean, it's fast on like new tires, but I mean, over the fuel stint, I definitely I got to change something up. There's something I'm doing wrong, and I'll take a few notes tonight and I'll write them down, and I'll try to change something for the next time I come here.
And that's how you do it. That's how you transition, folks. Jason Phillips, thank you for joining us in the booth tonight.
Thank you, Midwest. Thank you, Michael. Y'all have a good one.
All right, there's our P3 finisher there. And last but certainly not least, our winner, our race winner, Dustin Reinsiddle. Dustin, you got a copy?
What's up?
Not much, man. Here we are, victory lane once again for that number 11 Chevrolet. And the astute followers to this YouTube broadcast will happen to note that you were the only 24-hour driver I didn't interview or talk to during the broadcast. Did you feel a little salty about that? That's why you came out
No,
here and dominated again?
I was. We kind of had a. Well, not kind of. My stepmom actually passed away a couple days ago, and I was actually traveling back and forth during the 24-hour race to go visit and stuff. So was able to do that and uh, and still make the race. So no, I think I got in the house and I sat down and I ran like 5 laps of practice, which I put in a bunch of practice beforehand. But I put it in with the Cadillac because they decided to switch to LMP2 and I had to drop a couple stints because I'd be gone. So I switched to LMP2. I got a little bit of official racing experience in those, at least to know how to not wreck in them. And no, I love endurance racing. Like I'm about a second and a half off the pace of the really fast guys on the roadside on some of the souped up prototype cars and stuff. Um, so I just kept trying to make sure I was just keeping it clean. I think I had 2 little self slides, I guess, if you want to call them that. No damage. I think I only ended up having like 5x altogether. And I think 2 of those were or I had 2 self spins and 1 off track because I ran out of fuel somehow. But I made it back, not having to coast too far, so it was fun. I had a really good time with everybody, and then it was pretty respectful lobby for the most part. Just a lot of decision making.
Hmm. Well, my condolences on your loss there, Dustin. And you know, I was hoping to have a moment to interview with you, but I was told that there's some private reasons going on, and that makes sense why you weren't able to be up there. And it's just amazing to go through what you were going through and also still participate and be part of the racing experience. It couldn't have been easy on you there, and well, you certainly honor her with another win here tonight. Um, Flat tracks and you say that they're not your cup of tea, but you keep on breaking away with them here. Um, what's one of those key things to think about when you're here at Phoenix for you when you come to this track?
I noticed really early on in practice that a lot of the guys were really overdriving entry, which is usually the case for flat tracks for a lot of people. A lot of people want to dive it in, get to the apex, and then send it off. and that's just a really easy way to burn everything up all at once. So I always try to just maximize exit, because once the tires start to wear, if you can continue to maximize exit, you're usually going to have still decent lap times. You may still not be the fastest, but at least you're gaining the speed on the straightaways. So that's what I try to do at the flat ones.
All right. Well, that certainly makes sense here. Again, tires are all important here in the flat tracks. And speaking of which, we got Richmond Raceway coming up next Friday for the Truck Series. Same kind of thing that you're looking at there for tire saving, or is there different sort of different way you approach Richmond than you would Phoenix?
Oh, fun fact, Richmond is actually my very first, it was my first league win and my first iRacing win in general. Um, so, but the funny thing is that I went, looking back at it, I was way, way in the opposite direction of brake bias, because I didn't know what that was back then. I just knew that that's how I was getting beat, so I kept just messing with it, and somehow held everybody off on a green white checkered, and ended up winning. I think that was the only truck win I had that season. I'm not a huge, I know I say this all the time, I'm not a fan of this place, but I'm really, Richmond is either I show up and I can feel it, or the truck is really loose there, so sometimes it takes a little while to adapt of just how much you have to baby the throttle.
Yeah, absolutely. Richmond's one of my favorite tracks as well. Um, I know you said it's not one of your favorites, but it's my personal favorite. No league wins. I mean, there either, but still a cool track, and hopefully we'll see you on Sunday night with the blizzard there. Probably thaw out.
Yeah, I'm interested to see.
Split some
We're
cords
supposed
of
to get
wood.
quite a bit of ice, which kind of fit, because Darlington is actually like my number one favorite track, just because you can be a little off pace, and a lot of the times fast guys will hit the wall a couple too many times. So I feel good there. I
Okay.
like the way I run the track, and then I really enjoy just racing it in general. But I think I've missed like the last 4 or 5 races there, so hopefully I can make it. But it would be kind of on to par to not make it. But just want to give I ran this scheme again tonight, just in honor of my stepmom, and just want to say that thank you for coming in here. I know James is still dealing with some stuff, so shout out to James. I'm sure he's probably watching. I know you said he hooked you up with a new stream deck, so that's pretty cool. He's always working to help make everything better, even if he's not in here.
Always, that's for sure. And thank you again, Dustin, for racing here tonight. We hope that you can be out there for Darlington, get another win out there maybe, or do well there. And again, condolences for your stepmother, and I'm
Yes,
sure it would
sir.
mean
Thank you,
a
Mike.
lot to her to keep seeing you. All right, have a good one, Dustin. Your race winner there, Dustin Ryan, settle. And like we said, next up for the Truck Series is going to be Richmond Raceway. And as long as everything holds here at the 7 Time Studios Sunday night, we will be doing Darlington. It'll be the stock car series. We'll be doing the throwback race, and that green flag will drop at 8:25 Eastern Time. Alrighty, folks. Well, thank you all for tuning in and watching. My name has been Michael Harris Jr. here at the 7 Time Studios for Midwest Motorsports, the Friday Night Truck Series. Thank you for tuning in and watching. And for James J, again, special shout out for him, man. Pray for your health and that you can get better soon, that you can continue to join us, whether it be on the YouTube, and for everybody else out there, that you guys can continue to join us on the YouTube and follow along or come join us in the race. And we'll see you all next time. And as James J loves to say, stay in your lane.